name is David Tran, and my speech today will be concerning the current state of affairs in Cyrenaica and their aspirations for self-determination. Now, according to the United Nations Charter, self-determination is the principle in international law that nations have the right to freely choose their sovereignty and international political status with no external compulsion or influence. So Libya is a country in the northern region of Africa. It's the third largest country in Africa by area, and also the 17th largest country in the world. Libya is divided up into three regions: Hasan in the south, Tripolitania in the west, and the eastern region, Cyrenaica, which is the main topic for today. Now, living in the United States, we are blessed with many things: chances, opportunities. This is the land of freedom. If we were being treated unfair or unjust by our government, we as the people, we're able to voice our opinions, to make a difference, and, change the law without any punishment. These ideas are very sacred to us, sacred to this nation. But many countries in this world, they don't share the same ideals as us, such as Libya. So, in Libya, the people of Cyrenaica, the eastern province, are trying to overcome the challenges of a centralized government, which is why they're pursuing this quest for independence and self-determination. So here's a little bit of background on Libya. When usually people ask, what do you know about Libya? One name usually comes to mind, and that name is Muammar Gaddafi. He was the official ruler of Libya since 1969. His reign was very corrupt. It revolved around money. Libya basically became a dictatorship, housing under his commands. And wherever Gaddafi went, that's where the money went. That's why people say it's a centralized government. All the money went to a city in Tripolitania named Tripoli. So all the money and all the profits made from Libya went there. So in March 2011, the NTC was formed, or the National Transitional Council. It was formed, with the goal of overthrowing the Gaddafi regime and trying to bring the country to a more democratic state. Now, this is the main cause of the Libyan Civil War, which happened last year. Gaddafi was killed this past October as a result. So one would think that a man that high in power being out of the picture, and now it's a post-Gaddafi era, Libya would be easier to rebuild and form into a democratic nation. But you have to keep in mind that he did rule for 42 years. So his ideals and his beliefs are still instilled in a lot of people and a lot of his followers. A lot of his followers still value the whole centralism ideal. So some people today that have a big say in what goes on in Libya is a man by the name of Mustafa Abdul Jalil, who's the president of the National Council of Libya, and Abdul Rahim Akib, which is the transitional prime minister of Libya. These guys, they continue to follow the ideas of centralism. They constantly feed centralism. They put in the people's mind of Libya that unity and nationalism is the right thing to do, that it helps the nation as a whole. But we're gonna soon see that that's not a good effect, because it overall hurts part of the nation. So Cyrenaica was under the control of the NTC during this whole phase, while Tripolitania and Hasan remain under the Gaddafi government. But since Gaddafi's out of the picture, Cyrenaica actually declared semi-autonomy this past March, on March 6, 2012 to be exact. And a man by the name of Ahmed al-Sanusi was pronounced leader of Cyrenaica, when they actually formed their own council as well, called the Cyrenaica Transitional Council, or CTC. So a huge topic for debate these days is oil. Oil is oil makes the money, like in the United States as well. So um, Cyrenaica, the eastern province, is responsible for most of the oil in Libya. You know, that's where Libya's main source of income comes from. Cyrenaica holds Libya's oil fields, pipelines, refineries, and storage facilities. So despite its oil-rich reserves, the people in the region of Cyrenaica, they continue to suffer through discrimination and marginalization from the central Libyan government. That's why they need this self-determination. All the money made in Cyrenaica is being transported to the west in Tripoli. Imagine if you were a resident of Cyrenaica and you needed a bank loan, or you're a parent and you wanted to get a student loan for your child who wants to go to college, or you needed to obtain your birth certificate or records. All that is centralized in Tripoli. So there's no place to go to get that in Cyrenaica. You have to travel across the country to the other side to obtain all these documents, or to apply for any of these for any reason, which is horribly inconvenient, and it just puts a huge strain on the eastern side of the nation, because they're being deprived of everything. So these lovers of centralism, they push the idea of people unity, nationalism, but what does that exactly mean? All the money from the oil and the capital goes to West Libya in Tripoli, while the people of Cyrenaica suffer. So how is it fair that half of the nation thrives and prospers while Cyrenaica, their neighbors, their fellow Libyans, suffer greatly? And they actually had a man by the name of Abdul Fattah Yunus. He was actually a senior military officer in Libya and was the right-hand man of Gaddafi himself. He was on Gaddafi's side, but after hearing the voice of the people, listening to what they want, saying that centralism is bad, saying that we need to make Libya better as a whole, he decided to have a change of heart and decided to resign from his post, from being Gaddafi's second-hand man, and he decided to fight alongside the rebels to better Libya as a nation. And what was the result? He was they found his body in July 2011, and he was brutally murdered. He listened to the grievances of the people. He wanted to better this country. So this really shows that it was a crime of passion. He died for what he believed in. Even though he was on the other side of the law, he could see what was right in his opinion. So he fought for what he believed in. So it's profiting, but it's from what expense? It's hurting everyone in this region, and the people of Cyrenaica have nothing to show for it. So we as a people of a democratic society, we have a moral obligation to voice our opinions when these unjust discriminatory acts occur. Cyrenaica is still being ignored today, ignored to the point where they're trying to seek self-determination. They're trying to become their own nation. They're just trying to be a federalist nation like us, but we'll see what goes on in the future. But it's us to support them and support their independence right now, because they've been through so much that they feel like, since they don't profit at all from the regions, they want to become their own nation so they can actually profit from the oil in their own region. Cyrenaica can be free from the chains of centralism. The people of Libya can better prosper, and Libya will be a better nation as a whole. Thank you.